Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, hey, I apologize for not bringing you guys videos the last 2 days. It's been a crazy, hectic couple days, but I have a video today. All right, I've been wanting to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I'm not sure if I'll be able to monetize this video. It's just going to be kind of roll off train of thought kind of thing. My opinion on this. All right. Let me try using an example. Let's start out with an example here. Let me use Chicago, since so many conservatives nowadays it's ridiculous how I see Chicago brought up over and over and over again when conservatives or Trump supporters are talking. It's funny now. Well, it's not really funny, but now here in 2021, it's conservatives pointing at Chicago. Back in the 70s, it was the conservatives pointing at the South Bronx, New York City, as a Democrat hell, and it was L.A. in the 80s with the gangs and everything like that. Conservatives pointing their fingers. Look at the mayhem, the Democrats, and now it's Chicago. See, here's the thing, though. It has nothing to do with Democrats. Back in the 70s in the South Bronx, it was heroin. It was, let me be more exact, it was the money coming in that fueled violence and mayhem. Same thing in the 80s with LA and crack. And now it's meth and heroin and fentanyl in Chicago. The money that comes in, the power, and the violence all come hand in hand. It has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. All right, let me get right into it. How many young African American men are in jail right now because, let's just say, they have no record, no criminal background whatsoever. Say they live in Chicago. Say they've seen friends, cousins, neighbors taken down by violence. And they get scared. They want to protect themselves, and they end up making the decision to. This is like a 17-year-old has to walk back and forth to school, and makes a decision to buy something to protect himself. One day, he's walking back to or from school, and something pops off, and he needs to use it to defend himself. How many African American young men are in jail right now just for defending themselves? And mind you, this is even a little different, because the example I just gave, this person just walking back and forth to school, he's not putting himself in a situation that he needlessly doesn't need to. Putting himself in mayhem intentionally. He's just walking back and forth to school. How many thousands of African American young men are locked up right now for that? I'm just guessing here. It's just a question. You know what? Tucker Carlson does all of this all the time. He just throws these questions and innuendos out there and just leaves it for the viewer to make what they will of it. Well, I'm just doing a Tucker Carlson here. How many of African American men? And like I said, and in this situation, it's different, because the African American young man in question that I'm making up is not even putting himself in harm's way. That's the big thing when I look at this trial. Okay, my father, I've told you guys over and over again, my father passed away from brain cancer when I was 9 years old, and I inherited his entire gun collection: shotguns, long guns, pistols, everything. And as I told you guys before, he taught me how to use them. So when I was 16, 17, 18, I had all these weapons, all these things right in my bedroom. I thought about this. Would I ever carry these out into a city, into a town, into a chaotic, mayhem-filled situation? That would have never crossed my mind. I can't. My father taught me better. My parents taught me better than to ever do that. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. You never point it at anybody unless you intend to do away with them. I can't imagine doing that. Okay, so we have Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, from everything I understand, he doesn't even legally possess this gun. And to me, it's like this kid, after watching movies of the Wild West or something, thinks, he's going to put on a badge and deputize himself to go save America. See, here's the thing, though, right? So supposedly he's got good intentions. He wants to protect shop owners, right? See, here's the problem with that. That in his mind, that's his intention, supposedly. But when he shows up there in the streets of Kenosha, nobody could read his mind. He then becomes a combatant. Because he's not a policeman. He's not an EMT. He wears nothing that signifies him as even more than that. He's not trained or deputized or elected to be that person. He just deputized himself in that situation. But in his mind, he's there to protect people. Here's the thing, though. All the other combatants in this mayhem-filled situation just see him as another combatant. From what I understand, he confronted a protester. This is the first thing that happened. The protester threw toiletries at him, and he then Rittenhouse used what he had, and that's how the whole thing started off. That situation right there is not life-threatening, getting toiletries thrown at you. This is the way I understand it. He was trained as an EMT, supposedly. That's another reason why he claims he was there. Handing out water bottles was the extent of his helping people there. Here's the thing, too. After all this happens, he just walks away, calls his friends, tells them what he did, goes home, drives home, and goes to sleep. Never once did he show the least bit concern for what he did. From everything, all the reports I've read, the t-shirts he's been seen wearing, the people he's been hanging out with, he hasn't even learned any. That's to me, that's another big thing with this. He hasn't learned anything from this. Let me say this too. Him bawling like a baby on the stand is just pathetic. That doesn't elicit any sympathy from me whatsoever. It just makes it more obvious that this kid was not emotionally, physically, mentally equipped to put himself in the situation that he did. I haven't seen somebody hyperventilate with the lips like that and bawl like that. I've never seen any human being over 4 or 5 years old have that kind of intense emotional reaction. That's the reaction of an infant. This kid, this guy, this man should never, he wasn't emotionally, mentally, physically equipped to put himself in this situation. This situation was going on in Kenosha regardless of what he had done. It was already started, it was in motion, and he put himself into it. He put himself in harm's way. Again, with Chicago, say if some African-American kid in the suburbs of Chicago decided he was going to go clean up Chicago, clean up the drug gangs, and carried a weapon into Chicago, and then mayhem ensued, where would that kid end up? I want to bring up the fact about young African-American men in jail. How come when a Caucasian man is found to be unlawfully carrying, this kid was too young to have this gun, then they're just protecting themselves. Hey, this guy, it's his American right. He was just protecting himself. Every American has this right. But if this had been an African-American kid, same situation, he'd be in jail for God knows how many years. Guaranteed. Just my opinions on this. Lastly, it's my opinion, since Rittenhouse started this chain of events, the chain of events was already going on in Kenosha regardless of anything that he did. He then took himself and put himself in the dangerous. He endangered himself, and his actions led to other people's demise. which he should be held accountable for. He should be found guilty, and I don't know if in where this the jurisdiction, if that's 20 years, 30 years, what degree it would be, but he should definitely be found guilty because 2 people are no longer living because of Kyle Rittenhouse's actions alone. Those are my opinions on this. You guys, let me know what you think. Have a great Saturday.